Having a baby is one of life's most important moments. But depending on where you live, it can also be one of the most expensive. In this video, we're comparing what it actually costs to have a baby in the United States versus the United Kingdom. Same human experience, two very different price tags. Let's start with the United States. In the US, having a baby is expensive, sometimes shockingly so. The average cost of a vaginal birth without complications is around $14,000. If you have a C-section, that number jumps to over $20,000. That's just for delivery. It doesn't include prenatal care, lab tests, ultrasounds, or postnatal checkups. And for many people, the final bill depends heavily on their health insurance, if they have any. With insurance, the cost can drop significantly, but it's still not cheap. Most Americans with private insurance pay somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 out of pocket. But for those without insurance, the full bill can be devastating. And here's the kicker. Even if you do have coverage, unexpected charges often show up later. You might get billed separately for the anesthesiologist, the hospital stay, or even the baby's care during those first few hours. Now let's head across the Atlantic to the United Kingdom. In the UK, the cost of having a baby is radically different because it's covered by the National Health Service, or NHS. That means that whether you choose to have your baby at home, in a birth center, or in a hospital, you don't get a bill. Everything from prenatal scans to delivery and postnatal care is provided free at the point of use. There are no co-pays, no deductibles, and no surprise charges in the mail weeks later. Even prescription medications related to pregnancy are free. Of course, the NHS is funded through taxes, so it's not entirely free, but it means you won't be charged again when you actually need the care. Now, some women in the UK choose private care. A private birth in a private hospital or with a private obstetrician can cost anywhere from £5,000 to £20,000. But that's optional. Most women use the NHS, and the quality of care is generally good. It may involve longer waiting times or shared rooms, but the essentials are all covered. Let's break it down a bit further. Prenatal care in the US typically includes about 12 to 14 appointments, along with several scans and lab tests. Each of these visits can cost hundreds of dollars. With insurance, some or all of this is covered, but again, it depends on your plan. In the UK, all standard prenatal care is provided through the NHS, and appointments are scheduled automatically. Labor and delivery in the US usually take place in a hospital. You might be charged separately for the delivery room, for the epidural, and even for things like Tylenol or an extra blanket. In the UK, the birthing environment may be simpler, but the medical essentials, monitoring, pain relief, emergency care, are all included. Then there's the postnatal phase. In the US, follow-up care is minimal and can be expensive. In the UK, midwives often visit you at home in the days after the birth to check on both the baby and the mother. Again, at no cost. But cost isn't just about hospital bills. Let's talk maternity leave. In the US, there is no guaranteed paid maternity leave at the national level. The Family and Medical Leave Act allows for 12 weeks of unpaid leave, but only for employees who meet certain criteria. Some companies offer paid leave, but it's not required by law. That means many new mothers return to work far earlier than they'd like, simply because they can't afford to stay home. In contrast, the UK offers up to 52 weeks of maternity leave, with 39 of those weeks potentially paid through a combination of statutory pay and employer policies. Statutory maternity pay starts at 90% of your salary for 6 weeks, followed by a fixed weekly amount for the remaining 33 weeks. So, to sum it up, if you're in the US, having a baby could cost you thousands of dollars, even with insurance, and leave you with very little time off to recover. In the UK, most births cost the patient nothing, and new mothers are legally entitled to months of paid leave. Both systems have their challenges. The US has more high-tech facilities and private room options, while the UK system can feel overstretched or slow at times. But if we're looking strictly at cost to the individual, the United Kingdom is clearly more affordable for parents. It's one of the starkest examples of how where you're born or where you give birth can shape your experience in ways that go far beyond healthcare.